What do you get when you mix fine cuisine with utter simplicity? On today's menu, in Vietnam, subtle and varied flavors are often achieved in the simplest of ways.
I love seafood, especially when we come to Ha Long Bay. It's really fresh.
An inside look at a remote floating village in the waters of Ha Long Bay.
Their sea lakes are so well developed, they often claim to have a hard time balancing on solid ground.
A whirlwind tour of Hanoi with a caffeine buzz.
We took the French coffee and Vietnamized it and make it our own.
Rice paper from Tay Ninh that softens in the morning dew.
Mrs. Nam has been making rice paper for at least 35 years now.
The food of kings from Ho Chi Minh City's famous Rex Hotel.
We are out here in the middle of Ha Long Bay, one of the most beautiful places in Vietnam. About 2 hours by boat from the mainland. It's now 4:30 in the morning, and we are going to visit a fishing family of Mr. Nhiat in the floating village of Viet.
The meal is called Con Chua Ca, sweet and sour fish soup, and it is one of the most popular dishes in all of Vietnam. Originating in the Mekong Delta, it can be found in the finest restaurants of the country. But it is also made in the remote fishing villages of Ha Long Bay, located 100 miles east of Hanoi in the northeast province of Quang Ninh.
There are 4 main fishing villages in Ha Long Bay. And with a population of around 700, Viet is the largest and one of the most remote. So here we are at the Nhiat family home. The whole family has lived here for at least 3 generations. This is Mr. Nhiat's parents, his wife, daughter, grandchildren, and various in-laws. This dish is called Can Chua Ca. It's a sweet and sour fish soup that is very popular in Vietnam. Of course, a great meal like this has to start with fresh fish. Mr. Nhiat wakes up around 4:30 to start fishing at 5 o'clock. He says during the summer season, he usually uses prawns or squid as bait for the fish. At the bottom of the boat, there is a trough of water where he can place the fish to keep them alive. On any given day, he'll catch snapper, groupers, tuna, vokfish, which is a sea bass. He says there aren't as many fish these days because of overfishing. With each passing year, he catches fewer and fewer fish. The weather changes constantly. And then suddenly, the storm is over. These people have lived their entire lives in these floating villages. Their sea lakes are so well developed, they often claim to have a hard time balancing on solid ground. Mr. Nhiat keeps his fish under the floorboards of his house. If a fish is particularly good, he'll spawn it in special nets to help ensure future fish. This tool she's using is a 50-year-old knife. Really old, but still useful. The daughter cooks, but the whole family contributes on a regular basis, even the grandparents.
Đi gần đây thôi, già rồi không đi học côn. Già rồi gì vậy?
The grandmother says that before the war, as a fashion statement, the women would dye their teeth black. They thought it looked really cool.
Không.
The daughter says she uses pork fat to stir fry the tomato. Ingredients like pork, beef, vegetables, fruit, they buy and trade from farmers who come to the village with well-stocked boats. After a few minutes, she pours water in to make a broth. Once the water boils, she smashes the zao fruit to make the flavor sour. And then she adds the fish, a little bit of salt. At the end, she put the spring onion on the top to make it look beautiful. Wow, it's good. It's really yummy. I think it's great. The fish make it sweet, and the zao fruit make it sour, and the soup is just delicious. Halong Bay is a beautiful place.
Trời nó rất trong, rất đẹp.
Mr. Nyat loves living here with his whole family. He loved the ocean, he loved the sea. It's just the way it is.
The biggest city in the north is Hanoi, which is the capital city of the country. It was first set up in the year 1010. The first king of the Ly dynasty in Vietnam, in one of his dreams, saw a dragon soaring up into the sky from this area, and he thinks it's a good omen. So in 2010, we're celebrating the city's 1000th birthday. It's gonna be a huge celebration. My name is Ha, which means river, and we are in Hanoi, which literally means a city on the river.
Vietnam has become the world's second largest coffee producer after Brazil. And Hanoi, once the capital of French Indochina, has transformed the French coffee culture into a distinctly Asian experience. Pham Ha takes us on a caffeine-buzzed tour of Hanoi's busy streets via its many coffee houses.
Vietnam was one of many French colonies, so you can see the French influence all over the country, and especially in Hanoi. We have lovely French bread, and besides bread, we got delicious coffee. I love coffee. I love it. Coffee in Vietnam is grown mostly in central Highland, Buôn Ma Thuột, Pleiku, Đà Lạt, and these beans come from Buôn Ma Thuột. After the roasting process, he pour the hot coffee beans into bamboo baskets like this. He do it in front of a fan, so that's how they separate the husk and the beans. When he put the beans inside the roaster, the color is light yellow, but after they cook, the color turns a beautiful, rich, dark brown. The taste is crunchy, warm. I don't think it's that bitter actually. Bittersweet. Beautiful. The most popular means of transport in Hanoi is the motorbike. The traffic is like, what is the word? Organized chaos. Organized chaos? For Asian in general, tea is still more popular, but coffee is becoming more and more popular, definitely. Generally, Vietnamese think that Western coffee is too weak. Vietnamese coffee will give you a stronger kick. Making coffee is like a whole art. How you prepare the coffee beans and make sure it's not over-extracted or under-extracted. So when she pour the water in, they go through the filter, and this is what comes out. Pure coffee, very, very strong. It's beautiful, just beautiful. Chị ơi, cho em một cà phê sữa đá. The most common coffee is cà phê sữa đá. Sữa means milk, referring to thick and creamy, sweet and condensed milk. And đá means ice. This is Vietnamese coffee. Just stir it up. The milk sticks to the bottom. Very rich, very creamy. Yummy. Love it. The Vietnamese, if you gave them a glass of fresh milk, like Western people normally drink, they would say, oh, I don't like that. But when they turn it into condensed milk, it makes it more sweet, then the Vietnamese like it better. We're now in the old quarter of Hanoi, in a famous little coffee shop, Giang. Quán cà phê này của chú là đó. This gentleman's father first opened this cafe in 1945. That's his father.
Gần trăm tuổi.
This young boy in this picture is the current owner. This family is famous for egg coffee. In Vietnamese, we call cà phê trứng, and trứng means egg. It's actually very simple. They crack the egg, and then they have to separate the egg yolk and the egg white. And then they beat the egg yolk with sugar till it gets very frothy. They pour the mixture into a small cup like this, and then pour about 15 milliliters of strong coffee on top. Well, it's very rich. Actually, it's like coffee flavor tiramisu, just without the masala wine in it. I'm gonna tell you how to cross the street in Hanoi. Close your eyes and go. Weasel coffee, there's a legend. The weasel, they love to eat coffee fruit. So the weasel, after they ate that, in their droppings, you can find the coffee beans. And the farmers, they reckon that that's the best coffee beans. That's the story, but I don't know if there's any truth in it, but it sounds good to me. In Vietnamese, we call weasel coffee cà phê trồn, and literally it means coffee weasel. She tried to stir up the froth. The taste is even stronger than the normal coffee. It's good. The taste more bitter, but it's got a sweet aftertaste. This is my way of drinking coffee. I like drinking it this way. I don't know why, but it's like a coffee soup. When the French came in the mid-19th century, they introduced coffee to Vietnam. But the way we prepare it, the way we drink it, it's different. So we took the French coffee and Vietnamized it and make it our own.
Tây Ninh province has been making rice paper since the beginning of 20th century. The family has lived in Tây Ninh for 3 generations, since the time of the eldest person's grandfather.
Đoan vừa nói đi, không sao đâu, mọi người ăn đi. Cháu.
In Vietnam, rice paper is a staple. But here in Tay Ninh, 55 miles northwest of Ho Chi Minh City, they make a local version that gets its unique softness from lying out in the grassy dew. So special is this particular bon trong, as they call it, that cooks visit from all over the country just to bring it home to their kitchens.
She said, we start simply with the rice. She grind it to get really, really nice flour, and then mix in water. Mrs. Nam, she will use her ladle and pour a nice mixture of rice flour and water on top of the cheesecloth. First layer, she will let it stand there for about 5 seconds and then use the ladle again to pour the second layer on top of already steamed first layer. Mrs. Nam gently roll the rice papers on the homemade rolling pin made of bamboo. Mrs. Nam grew up with the rice paper, started making rice paper since she was very young. As the village people can remember, she's been doing it for at least 35 years now. Một ngày sẽ dạy em làm nghề này không?
Dạ, bà cũng chưa nói. Nó biết giỏi rồi chứ nào.
She said that during the really nice sunshine weather, she'll dry it on the sun for about 1 to 2 hours.
Dạ không, mà không biết nữa, tại không mất cái gì ngoại.
Gió đậu cho nó hừng thằng than rồi.
When the rice paper get dried, they'll grill them. Flipping is quite important because it actually keeps the shape. Then you're waiting for it to go from translucent to white. When it's white, it's done.
Xong rồi mình đặt bánh rải đều ra.
The most important feature that makes this rice paper unique is after grilling, what the family does is spread them evenly on the net. Placed just above the grass, you'll absorb the evening too, and the smell of the grass itself. Depending on the weather, if the weather is really nice and moist, 10 minutes and it's ready. This is what a grilled rice paper looks like before it absorbs the humidity. You hear the sound? And this is the final product. You can roll it up nicely because of the morning dew and the evening dew. Nice and soft. Yummy. Ho Chi Minh City is the biggest city in Vietnam. Before the American War, it was called Saigon. Our leader Ho Chi Minh, before he died in 1969, he had one wish, that Saigon would be liberated. The war ended in 1975, and the people of Vietnam renamed Saigon Ho Chi Minh City in his honor. We're here at Rex Royal Court Restaurant in the famous Rex Hotel in the middle of Saigon.
Like Hanoi in the north, Ho Chi Minh City in the south offers authentic cuisine from many of the country's provinces. One such cuisine is that of the Royal Court of Wei, established during the Nguyen Dynasty in the central part of the country. Imperial cuisine is often represented as lavish dishes made from peacocks or phoenixes. But the truth is, royal cookery requires skilled and careful presentation, not ostentation. At the Rex Hotel, Executive Chef Tran makes the imperial fish roll, which she learned from one of the last remaining royal chefs of Wei.
Plainly, royal cuisine means the forbidden food served in imperial palace for the king. Normal people wouldn't be allowed to eat or cook that kind of food.
Và nó đã được
We started off with freshwater catfish, skinless, has to be skinless.
xương ra khỏi.
Royal cuisine has to be beautiful. It has to be eaten not only with your mouth, but also with your eyes, with your heart.
Để chút xíu nữa chúng ta cuốn nó thành những cái cuốn.
Fish has to be cut in a thin form to be wrapped more easily. And we're starting with the marinating the fish.
Sau khi các bạn thấm đó,
Try to mix it gently so we don't crush the fish.
coi như là mình là khách ha. Và em
We'll start wrapping the fish now.
đây là bánh tráng Việt Nam.
It's a traditional Vietnamese rice paper. The Royal Court cuisine dates back to the Nguyen Dynasty, 1802 to 1945. The Nguyen Dynasty decided to establish a capital city in Hue, right in the middle of Vietnam. They were French ruled till Ho Chi Minh organized a whole democratic election in the country and started to wage war against French. That's when Nguyen Dynasty came to an end.
Hơi phí vì ô liu thường là để ăn.
During the process of on-the-job training as a professional cook, she started traveling to Hue in search of imperial palace chefs.
Hoặc là các cái
During that process, she actually found a female cook that used to cook and serve for the queen. That's how she learned how to cook Hue food straight from that lady. That lady is about 90 years old now.
Nó đã ướp được. Nó không phải là chả giò, nó không phải là chả giò.
Okay, so basically you just eat it plain like that. What you see on the plate, you have it like that. No dips, no sauce, no nothing. Pure imperial cuisine. Thường bên trong nóng.
Rất là nóng.
As it's been marinated with garlic, a bit salty, a little bit sweet, and it's really crispy. You can feel it in your mouth.
Cái này em nghĩ cũng không cần chấm thêm bởi vì ăn vô á thì cái mùi vị nó rất là ngon rồi.
And now the recipe for the royal imperial cuisine is not secretive anymore. It's been passed around to the population and everybody can eat it.
Nhớ được. Theo đúng mà cái ông cuội này thì cũng như con tôi đã nói.
In Vietnam, there is a story that has been passed down from generation to generation about King Hùng the 17th. He was growing old and weary and wanted to pass his kingdom on to one of his many sons. So to each of them he said, "Go and find me something to enjoy, and the son who pleases me the most will win my crown." Of course, the sons came home with gold and jewels and artifacts from foreign lands, and the king was impressed. But his youngest son, Linh Lang, surprised him. In his hand was a simple square rice cake wrapped in a banana leaf and stuffed with pork and beans. "What is this?" demanded the king. "Father, it is our land from which grows our rice, our trees from which spring leaves, our animals and our agriculture stuffed within. This cake, which the son called Bánh Trưng, is Vietnam. It is who we are." And the king was so taken by the simplicity of it all. He rewarded his crown to his youngest son.